Hi, this is Steve Leone. We're at Intersolar 2012 in San Francisco, and I have with me as my guest today Bryan Godber, a Senior Vice President with Trojan Battery. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so Trojan Battery is a company with a pretty wide reach in the off-grid market, and we're talking, mostly remote locations, rural locations across the globe. What drives off-grid energy storage, especially in how it relates to the solar industry? What are the driving factors here?
Sure, that's a good question. The off-grid markets for solar have been around for a long time. It's a niche market. They're very off the radar. We've been involved in the off-grid solar markets for probably 20 years or longer. What's driving growth recently? A lot of it has to do with PV prices coming down. And now all of a sudden an off-grid solar system is much more affordable. From a battery manufacturing standpoint, battery industry standpoint, battery now is becoming a very, very important component of the solar system because of the PV prices coming down, markets growing, and it's becoming a very, very interesting market segment with nice growth opportunities for us.
Okay, so maybe now moving towards the grid connected, that seems to be something that's happening in the industry right now. A lot of panel manufacturers are teaming up with battery makers to create on-grid solar storage systems. Is that a partnership that's going to emerge in the next few years, and what are the key challenges to making that happen?
Another good question. Seems to be a lot of activity there right now, and Trojan's looking at those market segments. We're not active in those market segments right now. We're more focused on finding the right technology for that market segment, and so we're not partnered up with a panel company per se. We're more in strategic planning and technology research, but that does seem to be an interesting combination of panel companies and PV companies teaming up with storage companies. I'm sure the PV companies are looking for new markets, new growth opportunities. There's a lot of synergies there between a battery company and a PV company for grid-tied storage. It's a new market. We don't see a lot of volume there right now, but it is a new market, and over the next 10 years, especially as PV prices come down, it'll be very interesting to see what happens with some of the new storage technology prices. A lot of these new technologies look very interesting and exciting, but they're new technologies, so costs need to come down. They need to be proven out in real applications. So it's a very interesting market right now.
So let's explore that a little bit more, because certainly with storage, that's really what the challenge is bringing the price down so that it can be adopted from everything from a residential situation all the way to utility. What are the challenges, from your perspective on what's going to bring down the cost of storage?
General challenges, first I would say from a technology standpoint, there are a lot of new battery technologies out there in the last 5 years, which is exciting. There's a lot of money that's being invested in new technologies, a lot of research, so that's exciting to see. As far as bringing the cost down, that is a big challenge, and these are new technologies. They're not scaled up. That's one thing that's interesting, being a lead-acid battery manufacturer, Trojan. It's a technology that's been around for a long time. Scale manufacturing costs are not going to come down in that technology. And for us to look at some of these new technologies, some of their projections are very interesting. To make them attractive to these markets, their costs do have to come down, and there's a lot of assumptions that need to happen in order for that to come true. So I would say over the next 5 years, for example, lithium-ion, costs need to come down. It's a very interesting technology, very long cycle life, very interesting specifications on paper, but it's very expensive. And in order for costs to come down, scale manufacturing has to happen. In order for that to happen, we're relying on some other markets like electric vehicles to scale things up. So there's a lot of things that need to happen in order for that technology and some of these other technologies to become cost-effective for some of these segments.
All right, John, thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate your time, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks for having me.